don't mean to make you guys upset, ever.
I'm here to just say that Eugenia tweeted an hour ago.
So it looks like there may finally be some good news for Eugenia Cooney.
And people were really concerned about a week ago that she might actually pass away due to this. Well, yesterday we all got very, very good news.
I really don't mean to make you guys upset, ever.
Eugenia Cooney is getting help, but does that mean she's going to get better? Today we're going to discover the truth through the eyes of someone who has been through the exact same situation. And that person is me. Now, if you're new to this story, Eugenia Cooney may be one of the most mysterious personalities on YouTube. Over her 8-year tenure, she has built quite the loyal audience. Yet little is actually known about this YouTube vlogger. But one thing has been clear. With each passing year, though her relevance has grown more prominent, her health has equally diminished. And thus there's been a lot of discussion over time about her battle with alleged anorexia, body dysmorphia, etc. Something she has lent very little response to. So this mystery has brewed. What could possibly be going on behind the scenes to provoke such an unhealthy state? Is there someone to blame? Maybe enablers like her friends or her family? With every answer comes more questions. Questions I hope to answer today. Now, none of this discussion has been more concerning than after a recent video released by Eugenia, which showed her weight at dire lows. This video led to massive community outcry. Everyone questioning, how? How could someone knowingly do this to themselves? And why would they refuse to get help for over 8 years? Well, luckily that question was answered the other day in a tweet by Eugenia stating that she is officially taking a break from social media and going to voluntarily seek help from doctors to fix her ails. Woo, that was a close one. Crisis averted. But is it? Could all of this just be a facade? Possibly to please the recent social media backlash. Maybe to please the fans and community that have been so concerned for so long. But Ryan, she says she's seen doctors. That is true. But doctors is a very vague term. What kind of doctors? A physician? A therapist? Dr. Phil? I don't know. Again, more questions. In fact, there are so many questions, I can't even remember what questions were the questions I was questioning. Wait, what did I just say? And don't get me wrong, at first glance, this is a very positive first step. But I can tell you from personal experience, her fight is far from over. I'm sure there are going to be numerous uploads talking about these new developments, as you know, controversy equals views. But I guarantee you, most of these other videos can only give you part of the story. Because these people, while possibly coming from a place of genuineness, can't fill in the gaps they themselves haven't experienced. To understand the state of mind that Eugenia Cooney is in, to really just, get it, you have to have gone through the pain that someone like Eugenia has. Someone like me. Now, if you didn't see my last video on this subject, I talked about my battle with anorexia, body dysmorphia, and the fact that I'm basically a bit of a mess upstairs in general. Now, this is a very depressing and all-around sad-faced topic, so allow me to explain an anorexic mindset with a fun, light-hearted cinematic comparison. Do you remember the movie Get Out? You know, that scene where the main character Chris is sitting drinking tea and all of a sudden begins to sink, trapped inside of his own body, unable to be in control, yet somehow continuing to move. That's what it's like to be in the mind of someone with an eating disorder. Someone like Eugenia Cooney. You're conscious, but there's something else, a foreign power in control of your actions. Looking back on it now, this wasn't a really uplifting example. I'll take the L on that one. Now, I've dealt with body dysmorphia for most of my adult life, and as fun as it has been, at my lowest, I was an 80-pound collection of bone, maybe some skin, and I don't know, maybe some more bone. So addicted to the idea of weight loss that I would run up and down the stairs in between individual bites of food. So neurotic about losing weight, I was banned from my local gym. And because of this at home, I would insist on never sitting, never resting, so that I could just lose 1 more pound. Just 1 more pound, and I would be happy. Who does that? I was dying, and I liked it. After 2 years of this, seeking multiple medical professionals, doctors, nutritionists, therapists, psychics, long scoldings from my grandmother, I recovered physically. However, there was still this voice. A voice in the back of my thick noggin, still yearning, screaming for control of my body and my mind. A voice that I discovered later will never fully go away. Kind of sounds like this.
Ryan, you know if you eat that grain of rice, you're gonna get fat.
Okay, one, that is not what that voice sounds like.
Well, what do you want me to do? You asked me to do the voice.
Just get out of here. You know who else probably has this voice? Eugenia Cooney. Now, to the average person, you may say, well, where were your parents to stop you? To force you into some sort of treatment center when your weight was clearly too low, when your hair began to thin, when you lost your period. Oh, wait, never mind, I never had that last one. Where were the ones closest to you in your greatest hour of need? Well, anorexia is a sneaky disease. See, for the majority of the time, I lost weight in secrecy. It wasn't until it seemed too late that my parents even really noticed my activities. And I can imagine for them, they honestly had no clue what to do. And how could you? I've seen videos and comments saying that Eugenia's parents should have done more, or that they in fact are the real problem behind her situation. And look, while they may have been certainly an enabling factor, I'm here to tell you that this is a terrible misnomer. No one could have stopped me, and no one can stop Eugenia, because that voice, oh, he's a tricky devil. Or is it a she? You know, I really don't want to seem sexist. Let's just call it an it. And while this recent tweet sparks great optimism for hope, having been in her shoes, I wonder, is this the beginning of actual change? Or is it a calm before the storm? When you have the mind of someone with body dysmorphia, to truly recover, it takes more than just some doctors to get you to a healthy weight. Weight is just the physical part of the battle. The true fight is with the mind. So the question we must ask is not whether Eugenia can recover, but will she, and for how long? What I didn't mention about my anorexia story was that not only have I recovered, but I've recovered multiple times. With anyone who has ever gone through a similar situation as I or Eugenia, you must ask, is this person now, after all of this time bringing their body so low, this time letting their mind be twisted, their mind shut off from the truth of the matter, are they really now doing it for themselves, or just to get you off their back? Remember that voice I mentioned that utters the subtle scream of control? You may not hear it, but that voice is loud and clear to someone like Eugenia or I, and it is much, much more difficult to quiet than anyone thinks. I remember when I was seeking recovery, talking with doctors, it was easy for me to agree with them. It felt easy to accept that I had a problem, to agree to the things that I needed to do to improve. But then when it came time for me to follow through on these things, my anorexia found every way possible to make sure that that did not happen. But hey, at least we got them off our backs, right? We sure tricked them. So how can we help this person? This person who may or may not be telling the truth about their readiness for change. Well, for that, let's send it to my friend and mental health guru, Chris from the Rewired Soul, to tell you just how you can help someone like Eugenia Cooney.
What's up, everybody? It's Chris from the Rewired Soul, and Ryan, thanks for having me as a guest again on your channel. So yeah, how do we as a community support somebody like Eugenia Cooney in her recovery? The first thing that we need to understand is something that Ryan hit on perfectly. The person has to have and maintain the willingness to change. Now, there are things that we can do to assist in that, but we cannot make that person continue to stay willing. One of the best things that I hope to see the community do when Eugenia gets back online is support her, right? Say, hey, I'm proud of you. I already saw a bunch of these tweets after Eugenia announced that she was taking a break and going seeing a doctor. A ton of support, all right? Even from some unlikely places, like it was great to see that support. That can be really encouraging. One of the issues that we have as a society and as a community is we focus far too much on the negative. As we've mentioned in other videos, is shaming does not work. If you have comments that are like, oh, you still don't look that good, or you still don't look healthy, like chill out. We need to celebrate small successes. What that actually does is it gives the person boosts of dopamine and endorphins to make them feel good about what they're accomplishing. And with the way that our brain is wired, it encourages them to keep moving forward and keep doing that action, all right? I hope that we can come together and keep encouraging her when she finally makes more videos and things like that. If she does look better, make sure that you let her know. These are things that can be very beneficial. Now, here's the thing too. Like, I am an addict in recovery, and something that Eugenia may go through, I know a lot of addicts go through this, I know I've gone through this, is when you start doing better, the disease creeps back up on you, that mental illness, and it says, oh, you're doing fine, you don't need to do this anymore. There needs to be accountability in place as well. So if it seems like somebody is falling off track, or somebody in your life or whatever it is, bring it to their attention, just help keep them accountable, but doing it in a loving, kind, and compassionate way. The other question that, you know, a lot of people have is, what are Eugenia's parents doing, right? Well, on my channel, I don't just specifically focus on the YouTubers. I want you to learn from this as well, because you might have somebody in your life who is recovering from an eating disorder, all right? So things that people can do in their life is to help by keeping them accountable, remind them of their follow-up appointments, whether it's with a doctor, whether it's a therapist. Some people have aftercare treatment from a facility that they should continue going to. But one mistake that I see a lot of people make is being overbearing. Trust me, I get it, I get it. I know that your heart is in the right place, reminding them about, you know, their recovery and going to this and going to that. But if you do it too much, some people actually get a little bit rebellious, and then they just don't want to do what you're telling them to do. So it's important for us to find that balance. So I would also encourage anybody in the community to not like be harassing Eugenia and saying, hey, are you doing your follow-ups? Are you doing this? Are you doing that? We have to find a balance between being supportive without being overbearing, all right? So I hope you all learn from this, and I really, really appreciate Ryan sharing his own experience with his eating disorder and body dysmorphia to help educate people like myself on this. All right, but anyways, thanks again, Ryan, for having me as a guest, and I'll see y'all later.
Like Chris has said, if anybody has the willingness to change, then there is definitely hope for people like me and people like Eugenia. Now, I hope that you can look at these issues with love, care, and help by spreading the word to others so that we can help as many people as possible. Remember, I'm Ryan, and I'll see you in the next video.